Hey guys, Lunatic Astrology here, your astrologer, Lori Lothian. And I want to talk about this moon that's coming up because that's what I specialize in, lunatic, lunar moon. So we have a new moon coming up and it's really intense. A lot of astrologers are talking about this June 3rd, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, check your own time zone, on the 3rd moon that's coming up, and talking about it only on the surface of what's really going on with this moon. I'm going to call it the divine download of cosmic intelligence that will come into action in your life. That's kind of long. When you are willing to catch, receive the ball, from the quarterback, of the divine quarterback. Let's talk about what this divine cosmic intelligence download for you could be. Now, first off, this is a moon that is close enough to a fixed star to count. A fixed star is literally one of the stars in the sky, and they have their own power and intelligence. And in this case, this 12-degree and 33-minute new moon on June 3rd, and new moon meaning it's dark in the sky, you can't see the moon, right? There's no light, it's occluded. This new moon, which represents new beginnings, resets, and restarts for everybody, in the sign of Gemini, downloads, messages, and communications, is conjunct fixed star Aldebaran. Aldebaran, one of the 4 royal stars, actually around 3022 or so, or 3045 BC. That fixed star was at 0 point Aries, which basically, of course, is a cardinal point on the world axis and represents, the spring equinox. And so why is that important? Because this fixed star, Aldebaran, is one of 4 royal stars that at one point marked different cardinal points or different axis points on the world axis. The world axis is Aries, Capricorn, right? So like, okay, well, I should probably give it to you in more of a sequence. The cardinal points are Aries and Libra across from each other, Cancer and Capricorn. Actually, I believe Cancer should be in the Thema Mundi, but I don't want to bore you. Cancer and Capricorn on the other axes. And so all of the royal stars at one point were on that one of those 4 points in the world axis and representing the equinoxes and the solstices. That goes to show you how old Aldebaran really is, okay, in terms of being recognized as a star. It is an archangel. There are 4 archangels, okay, if you don't know, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Michael. Each of the royal stars, each of those 4 royal stars is represented by an angel. In this case, it's Michael. So we all have the experience of a new moon in Gemini on June 3rd, 6 a.m. Eastern, but don't forget the influence will go for the entire month, heralded by the warrior angel Michael. Now, all of these stars, fixed stars that are angels, have an elevated status. They are extra powerful. They're in more, benefic, they're good, they're fortunate stars, and they support humanity in some way. Now, even if you kind of just look at this as mythic and you don't believe it, because it's not causal. I'm not saying a fixed star is causing something to happen. I'm saying that it is a mirror or a symbol of something that's happening at another level. So I want you to think of it that way. So I want to show you a few things about what we're going to do. We're going to do some astrological magic together. Please bear with me. Flowers, look at my flowers. Bought them today. Why? Look at my wine. I opened it early. Believe me, I'm not drinking the whole thing. I'm just about to do a 21-day cleanse. I've got wine, I've got flowers. I'm building up towards this June 3rd new moon because it has a strong Venus influence that no one is mentioning, and a strong Saturnian influence. Venus is love, art, and beauty, and she loves her flowers and wine and pleasure and sensuality. Saturn is discipline, focus, and structure. And what better combination when the two of them work together? So let's talk about what that means for this cosmic creative download new moon that you can harness. Instead of looking at these moons that come and go as kind of like, oh, I don't know. Oh, by the way, this necklace that I'm wearing, speaking of astrological magic, was created by Spangly Jewelry, little plug here, and if you want to win a piece of free jewelry, gorgeous moon-bathed earrings by my friend Desiree. Just go check it out, and you can find the link below for those earrings. So hang on, I can't believe it, but my doorbell's ringing in the middle of a recording. is Venus without a man? Come on in here, man. Come on. Get in here, Dan. Dan the man. Come on. Don't be shy. Come here.
I'm shy. My life is
No, just come here. Come on, come on, come on. Have a debut moment. So my daughter's coming for dinner, and this is her man, Dan. I always call him Dan the man. And he's here right now. I'm not going to record. I never do a second take. Okay, thanks, Dan. You're done. Hang out. Do your thing. I'll be ready in a minute. So, oh yes, where was I? This is a strongly Venusian moon. This new moon, and she's informing a story about helping this cosmic download happen. So the reason that there's flowers here and that there's wine here is because I'm preparing for the new moon, and I'm going to do a little ceremony around that. Now, Venus is currently taking her time meandering through the sign of Taurus, and Taurus and Venus and Taurus love flowers, and of course she rules Taurus, so she's in her rulership. So one of the things that we have to look at is what ways do we want to please the goddess, and we please her by giving her things she likes when she's in her, especially when she's in her own kingdom, when she's in her own rulership. So she leaves, by the way, Taurus on June the 9th, more or less, depending where you live, and so then she goes into Gemini, which is a big part of the cosmic download that you can receive from Venus. So let's get down to the details. I'm old school. I love to print things out. Well, you can't see, the light's too bright, but I have a printed out chart because I work by crayons, colors, and printed out stuff. So when I looked at this, besides seeing this blessing of Archangel Michael on this new moon, that gives you the opportunity for true miracles and true magic, what I'm also seeing in this new moon is that there is a minor grand trine happening at the same time. So this minor grand trine is a trine, like literally 120-degree angle between Venus herself in Taurus at 23 degrees, and opposite to her is that Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn is then forming a triangle like that, like that, to tell a man to be quiet, to Neptune in the 10th house, oh, sorry, no house, sorry, I'm using my chart for my time zone. In Neptune, in the sign of Pisces, where Neptune's been hanging out for a few years. Takes roughly 14 years to leave a sign, so has a few more years left, probably like 6, just glancing down at it, 7. So Neptune and Pisces basically is the God piece. This is where you're going to get your download. This is where you're going to get your miracles. This is when you get your divine inspiration. The cosmic intelligence wants to have communion with you. That triangle, right, with Venus and Saturn, Pluto, and the Neptune combination means something in the context of this moon for a very unspoken of reason. I haven't seen other astrologers talk about this, and that is this. The moon at 12 degrees 33 minutes of Gemini is in the Egyptian term, or bound, doesn't really matter, subdivision of that sign of Venus. So Venus is the lord or mini master of the moon. The big master, the jumbo master of this moon in Gemini, of course, is Mercury. So we have a messenger Mercury ruling this moon, giving it its kind of informing it. We have Mercury, the messenger, deliverer of cosmic intelligence and downloads, in the same sign as this new moon, hanging out in Gemini as well. So it's super powered for messages to be received from somewhere. Because Neptune's involved, we're looking at divine downloads, and there's going to be a time delay between the reception and the actualization of 6 days after this moon, and I'll explain why in a minute. So this moon has Venus, goddess of love, art, beauty, sensuality, pleasure. Venus in Taurus, flowers, earthy delights, earthy sensual pleasures. Cooking at home is good. You know, getting in the garden is good. Venus is anchoring this triangle that I'm calling, it is like a minor grand trine that points up at Neptune, right? Like this, a sextile to Neptune, the cosmic download. And she's a player in this new moon because she's the bound lord for the moon at 12 degrees, 33 minutes of Gemini. Secondarily, the triplicity lord for this moon is Saturn. Where is Saturn? Saturn is at the other end of the trine, the bottom of the triangle. So you can almost look at it like this. Venus is here, Saturn is here. Triplicity lord, Don't ask me what that means. That's a whole video. Triplicity Lord, but powerful Lord, influence, helper, ally to this moon. Venus, bound Lord, kind of sub-manager. Mercury, big Lord, messenger of the gods. Neptune, who's in charge? Neptune. Why? Neptune is the vastly slower moving planet, even though it's a modern planet. So in ancient astrology, we would definitely say that Saturn, which is now conjunct Pluto, is the dominant force. But we're going to put Neptune up here because we discovered Neptune for a reason. So cosmic intelligence downloads unconditional love, enlightenment. Possibilities for enlightenment are activated now, if that's something you're seeking or wanting. So what I suggest is this. When the new moon comes, do something to honor Venus, because she's a player here. It's easier to do a Venus honoring than it is to do, say, a Saturn conjunct Pluto honoring. And she is the actual bound lord for the Egyptian term, or bound, in which the moon is happening. So she's more influential than Saturn, the triplicity lord. Do a little honoring for her. Do a little honoring for Mercury, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe write yourself a love letter, delivered to yourself. Give yourself some time for flowers, pleasure, intense experience of just delighting in being in the beauty and sensuality of being alive on that moon. And get ready to hear that download or that information coming from Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces is in a very good place. Neptune in Pisces is in its rulership in modern terms. It rules Pisces, although Jupiter actually rules Pisces in Hellenistic astrology. And what the question I have for you is this. If you were to listen and be very silent, what would you hear? If you were to be very still, with a kind of be still and know that I am God, what would you receive? Because you're going to receive something if you listen. And so that time frame, that new moon, 24 hours, is very potent. So I would tap it if I were you. 6 days after that new moon, we have a time of actualization where the sun is going to be moving forward a degree a day, roughly, to 18 degrees, and being in a, at that point, contact, okay, by square with that Neptune at 18 degrees that happens at that full moon. So in a nutshell, what does that mean? It means that somehow the movement of the sun, your conscious identity and your awareness of what's happening for you in your life, is going to be able to take some inspiration, idea, imagination, or vision that you receive from Neptune and have the first action of it occur. And it may not be something that you do, it may be something that comes to you, because Neptune loves magic and miracles. A phone call, you have an idea for like a project, or you have an idea for a book or a script or something. This is some stuff that Neptune might give you downloads for. And then, you have contact 6 days after this new moon from somebody who has something to offer you, something magical and powerful to offer you that will support that initial inspiration. So look for the stepping stone 6 days later. And 6 days later, Venus moves into Gemini, and she goes out of her earthly delights and into the very journey of her time in the messenger sign in Mercury's domain. So whatever she's doing when she's operating as an agent for goodness in that minor grand trine, whatever she's doing when she's in this new moon, she's going to bring into the world of communication, messages, Mercury, and mercantile. Okay, and Mercury rules the merchant world, the business world. It also rules, to some extent, or is responsible for internet work, internet business. Now Uranus is as well. Uranus when it's cutting edge and brand new, and Mercury when it's just everyday things. Like emails are now Mercury, okay? When they first came out, emails would have been Uranus's job, something brand new on the technology front. But at this juncture, look for an email coming in, maybe, a Venusian contact, somebody in the arts to support you. Pay close attention to what goes on there. It's going to be very exciting if you are open to receive the cosmic download that Neptune offers you. Now, you could change also habits, especially self-defeating habits, addictions and distractions. Some of that is Neptunian elements. And because it's such a harmonious energy that's happening with this minor grand trine, in any way that your Neptune might be debilitated in your natal chart, or you might have some issues with, addiction, distraction, escapism, you may actually go into a natural, easy rehab. No one's going to commit you. It'll just seem natural that these things begin to fall away after we get past that roughly 6 days post new moon. The other thing I want to say about this, the last thing I'm going to say is look to where this Gemini 12 degrees is in your own natal chart. I'm all for the whole sign house system, Hellenistic astrology system, because I think it really works. So I suggest if you're going to plunk your stuff into like astro.com, for instance, to see where, if you're astrologically literate, where that Gemini moon is occurring, which house in your chart it's happening in, then you'll have a better idea exactly how this is going to influence you. For me, it's happening in my house of creativity. I have creative expression, children, romance and love affairs, my 5th house, and so I'll be really interested to see what happens. Last video I told you I was going to a Carolyn Miss lecture, and I did. I recorded on the way home from it a video that I'm not going to put out as a main video, but I'm going to put a link below. It's private. If you want to know my takeaway from that, because I left early, so I had a big learning for myself. So the private link to my download from the Carolyn Miss lecture on the power of prayer is available if you want to watch it, just to see what my takeaway was and some lessons I had about autonomy, sovereignty, and listening to our own divine voice. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, you can like and subscribe. I answer all my comments. I read everybody's stuff. Also, please enter the contest down below. Who doesn't want to wear and win beautiful earrings bathed in a moon by my friend Desiree at Spangly Jewelry, and in this case it's her LunArtistic collection that she made for my channel, and it's nothing but putting your name or your email in a hat and you can win. And if you're a guy and who doesn't wear earrings, you can give them to your girlfriend. That's my daughter coming in for dinner, so they told me they're going to be here later. Normally I wouldn't have started recording had I known they were going to be here so soon. Okay, I am going to check in with you guys in a couple of days and see how things are going. In the meantime, thanks for listening. Mwah.